people come and go all the time. One day, a new colleague, Daniel, walked over to my desk. He smiled and asked, "Do you believe in love?" His question caught me off guard. I didn't know him well, but I had heard things about him from others. Curious, I replied, "Yes, but it's not always simple." He nodded, like he'd heard that answer before. I thought the conversation would end there, but he started talking more. He seemed interesting, even charming, but something about his confidence made me cautious. At work, most of my coworkers are women or married men, but Daniel is one of the few single men in the office. He's 35 years old, has been with the company for about a year, and owns a house, though he's still paying it off. He's funny, strong, and undeniably good-looking. Over time, we started talking more. He had this way of making everyone feel at ease, including me. He would listen when I spoke, and I liked that. It felt nice to be heard. But one day, he said something that surprised me. He admitted, "I have a problem staying loyal in relationships." I wasn't sure if he was joking, so I asked, "What do you mean?" He sighed and said, "When I'm with someone, I always find myself talking to other women. I can't stop." I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. After a moment, I asked, "Why do you do that? Don't you care about the person you're with?" He shrugged. "I do care," he said, "but I get bored. I always feel like I need something new." I was taken aback by his honesty, but I couldn't understand his reasoning. "That's not right," I told him. "If you're in a relationship, you should focus on that person. It's not fair to them." He looked at me for a long moment and said, "I know, but it's hard for me to change." His words stayed with me. I thought he might try to change, but as the weeks passed, I realized he wasn't even trying. One day, I asked him about his past relationships. He told me about his ex-girlfriend. She was 42, he said. She had 3 kids from her previous marriage. We were together for 8 years. She was amazing, really. I was curious. "Why did it end?" I asked. He hesitated before answering. "She left me." I could tell there was more to the story, so I pressed further. "Why did she leave?" He avoided my eyes. "It just didn't work out," he said vaguely. "I didn't let it go." "Did she leave because you cheated on her?" His eyes widened and he didn't say anything. That was all the confirmation I needed. Over time, I started to understand. He stayed in that relationship because it was convenient. She wanted stability and family, and she was the one who made all the plans. He just went along with it, but he wasn't loyal to her. When she found out, she left. I told him, "You hurt people because you only think about yourself." He didn't argue, but after that, he stopped talking to me as much. He started asking other people for help at work and seemed to avoid me altogether. It hurt because I thought I could help him, but I realized he didn't want my help. One day, I found out he had a new girlfriend. I casually asked him, "Do you like her? Is she nice?" He smiled and said, "Yeah, I like her. She's great." But I didn't trust him. I couldn't help myself and asked, "Are you going to treat her the same way?" He didn't answer, but the look on his face said everything. I think he thought I was naive for even asking. Maybe he even laughed at me in his mind, but I didn't care. That night, I sat alone and thought about everything. I realized something important. Some people don't change, no matter how much you want them to. They don't see the harm they cause because they only think about their own needs. I decided that night that it's better to trust myself and my choices. I might stay single forever, and that's okay. I would rather be alone than be with someone who doesn't value loyalty or respect. Now, I feel free. free to live my life the way I want, without worrying about someone else's mistakes. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and share.